Okay.
Hi, welcome to this Acorn tutorial. As you're probably gathering, this is on the brand new parts request. We've been working a long time on it, and we're bringing it to staff usage in the next 2 months. So we would like you to look at it and just check out what it's all about. So this we've covered suppliers, we've covered parts request in the process, and we are covering now, Dave.
We're now covering the rudimentary stock control part of the system.
Cool, sounds great.
It does, doesn't it?
Right.
Especially the word rudimentary.
That was awesome.
Okay, we're now in the stock part of the system, and basically this is a simplified stock control system. It will grow in complexity, no doubt, as time goes on, but it basically provides the ability for us to record what we've got in stock that we can use for fitting to vehicles, etc., etc. And it is divided into three. There are three stock control systems, one for the after sales department, one for the retail shop, and one for the body shop. So what we're looking at here is the after sales, the service department's parts department stock thing dashboard. Rearrange these words into a meaningful sentence. Because I am logged onto the system as a service person, so that's why it's showing me the service parts dashboard. If I was logged in as a person from the shop, then it would show me the retail parts dashboard, and so on and so forth. Okay, going to stock, this is what we see basically. This allows us to search for and find, hopefully, a part that the system knows about. Now, to start off with, the system won't know about any parts, obviously, but this will grow in usefulness as time goes on. Every time we order a part, the system remembers it, and over a period of time we can then build up a database of all the parts that we use. So,
which is why dots in fields are not useful.
Yes, quite.
Okay, so please not have full stops. If you don't know the info, then you go get the info, not just put full stops in there, because then in 3 years when you re-want that part, you will be swearing and cursing yourself.
Absolutely. Part numbers are very useful things, and there are actually, for any one part, there are three potential part numbers. There are the manufacturer's part number, the barcode associated with the product, and the supplier's part number. Now, one part may have several different suppliers, and therefore it may have several different suppliers' part numbers, but it should only ever have one manufacturer's part number and one barcode, hopefully. Right, to find information about a part, we need to search for that part, and as with the parts request, we can search on a combination of different fields. Part number, which will search through any of the part numbers it knows about, make and range, category and subcategory, and so on and so forth, or the description. So I'm going to search on description, and I'm going to search for all parts that begin with the word test, as we did before. And just like on the parts request, you can see down here, it pulls up a list of potential parts that match what we're looking for. So we can look through these, and at this point we can either create a new part. Don't forget, we're not creating this part to go on a parts request, we're just creating the part to go into stock so it can be used for future parts requests.
The other thing I will add, just on this point, notice just down the bottom here that as well as we have the description of part, which obviously we just got test, we can actually see the category that it comes under. So in this particular case, this test part comes at 12N and 12S black cables. So it will give you an idea, is this igniter could be off, a water heater could be off, a fridge could be off. Well, in the category, it will then have the appliance it's likely to come under. So super useful.
Absolutely. So basically, the options we've got for each of these parts, when we find the part we can either say this is the part I'm interested in by clicking on the tick. The next button will show us all the parts requests that are currently outstanding that use this part. So in other words, we can find a part and then find out what parts requests are currently requesting that item. Then as before, we can see what vehicles use this particular item, and we can add a vehicle to that list if we want to. We can edit the part, we can clone the part to create a new part based on this part to save us having to type everything back in again.
And that could be if you've got front marker light amber, and you want to put a front marker light clear. There's a classic example of cloning.
Classic example there, because we could just take the first one and just change the description to create the second one, and the part number, obviously. So let's use this part here, test part 1, just on the first one, use this item and see what it shows us. And basically what it shows us is primarily the details recorded for that part, the various different part numbers, obviously not the supplier's part numbers because there are a variable number of those, but it shows us the manufacturer's part number, the barcode, what category it applies to. This one doesn't actually belong to any categories, we haven't specified that. Let's actually just go back and edit this particular part here and give it a category. So we'll say that this belongs to, what should we say, bed, and subcategory would be, it will be if it comes and talks to us. Now stop talking to us because we've got a bad connection here. Look at, yeah, it's just going to go away test. All right, we won't cancel that for time being, but you get the idea. Let's use this part. Right, what it's showing us basically is, apart from the information about the part, the actual stock levels for this part, and whichever department we're in will be at the top of the list there in bold, and it's showing us that we have 4 of this particular item in free stock. The number in brackets is the number that we also have, but they've already been allocated to parts requests. So if we looked in the stock department, the stock area, we'd probably see 7 of these, 4 of which are available for allocation and 3 which have already been allocated to other parts requests. It also shows us the free stock quantities in the other departments, so we can see that PDI, which no longer exists as a separate department, but if it did still exist, they would have 2 of those in free stock. Body shop doesn't have any, and retail doesn't have any.
The interesting thing I would just add to that, notice in the departments you are not a part of, you can only see their free stock and cannot see their allocated stock.
Correct.
Because we do not want departments robbing each other of allocated parts.
No. Now, as part of the service department, I can say I've got 4 of these parts free. Say the body shop wanted one, I could then, as a service part, take one of my free ones and give it to the body shop stock. But I couldn't do it the other way around. If body shop had one and I wanted it, I couldn't go in there and claim that part. I'd have to approach the body shop and say, can I have one of your free parts, please? And they'd actually have to allocate it to me.
And then that manager does it.
Exactly. So I can move one of my parts by clicking on the move to next to the body shop. Okay, that will pull up a box which will allow me to say, okay, I'm going to transfer one of those, my free stock, across. And what would normally happen? Let's come up with it because of the bad connection. Let's come up with a garbage message. Let's just go back in there again. Right, okay, that one. So that would then move one of these across to the body shop. I can also adjust the stock quantities by adding numbers to stock or taking numbers out of stock. So it's like a manual stock adjustment. That's basically all the stock control does. Obviously, these numbers are automatically updated by the parts request procedure. So as we receive goods into stock, then that number of allocated parts would increase. And as they're taken out and issued to staff, that number decreases. And that's all there is to it, really.
So essentially, what we just do want to stress once again is that stock control is only as good as the people who use it. So please ensure when you're putting it on there, if you create a new part, do we just want to cover the way you do a description, because it's critical that the words we use are correct.
Yeah, basically. Every part has an official description which will appear in a manufacturer's brochure or on the product itself, on the packaging for the product or whatever. So wherever possible, use the wording as it appears on the product packaging or on the manufacturer's website or in the brochure or whatever, because that gives us a reference base that we know is correct and other people can use that. If you call it a left-hand flange grommet, something simple like a washer, then people won't be able to find it if they're searching for it by description.
Well, I think what we've also got to stress is that if, for instance, if you've got your, what you just said, left hand, was it flange washer, first of all, the first item's got to be washer, because that's the item that it is. And then it will be a flange, will be the second one, and then your left hand, right hand, whatever it might be. So because you're not going to be searching for right hand or left hand. The thing you are going to type in the search engine is washer. And in the same way, if you've got a fridge igniter, you wouldn't put in there fridge igniter. You will start off, it's an igniter, and then we put for the subcategory will be fridge. So simply it will be igniter, let's say piezo or igniter Bosch or whatever it might be, whatever make it could be, keeping just to the igniter, because the fridge bit will be done in the subcategory. Any questions asked?
Absolutely. And the more structures you make that description, the more useful it will be for you and for other people.
It is absolutely critical that we do that, because if not, on the last system we did, we had about the same part listed 9 different ways. You must do it the way we want it done, and that is you start off with the item and work back through the appliance or the subcategory from there. So any queries, please ask myself or Dave, who will clarify exactly how we want you to do it. Okay, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching.